About the Denver Broncos. And what are the Denver Broncos doing and what can they do, what the capabilities are? Because Sean Payton sitting at the helm. And for those of you who have listened to me before, I was very honest and very adamant about Sean Payton and his ability to coach. It's nowhere near reached that top level of being a coach.
Obviously, a disappointing loss. I think we went into the game expecting more of a low-scoring game. We felt it was going to be very important for us to be patient with the run game and even play field position. Things that really hurt us. Obviously, offensively, we weren't near good enough. Our third down numbers, I think, were 2 of something. We turned the ball over once. I thought we played good defense. We gave up some yards. We have a big play in the second half, down an assignment in a route. We throw an interception. I think that hurt us. But yeah, disappointing. And I just finished telling the offensive coaches, that needs to get, that side of the ball needs to get cleaned up. And
it was a clear embarrassment for the Bronco organization. And here's what I really brought to the table for you folks, and I've really said this. I predict the Denver Broncos will not win an AFC West game for the next 3 years. This is year 1, okay, because Sean Payton did something last year, okay, with Russell Wilson. I mean, it was bad business then. It's bad business now, and you reap what you sow. You're going to have to get back in there, and you're going to have to coach.
It starts with me. We got to start really looking at who we're asking to do what, and that was, it was frustrating because there were certain elements that went kind of according to plan field position wise, but our inability to score and convert third downs, ultimately hurt us.
Now, for a lot of people who feel that, you got Sean Payton as a good football coach, I don't buy that. I didn't buy it before. And I dug into it and found out that Sean Payton was the one that coached Drew Brees. Joe Lombardi is the coach. Joe Lombardi is the coach that does it. Sean Payton has never developed a quarterback, and he's kind of went through and proven his way, being connected, network from Bill Parcells, others, to get in there and be the coaching job. Now, the Waltons hired him to rebuild the franchise. But you got to remember, he was with the New Orleans Saints. He kind of depleted that organization and left under contract, did not finish his coaching contract. So the buzz around the NFL and the Denver Broncos is Sean Payton the problem.
Any questions?
Yeah, Sean, the back of the end zone pick that Bo threw, I mean, is that you're going to have growing pains with a rookie quarterback, but it's still tough to kind of go through it?
Yeah, we got a mistake in the route too, so there's some dirty hands on that play. But it's a fair question.
Hey, Sean, why not do the onside kick there at the end?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time going through it. Look back and forth. We had plenty of time to discuss it. There was a player down. We felt like our odds, the long run on third down prior to them punting took about 6 seconds. We were hopeful to have 2 or 3 plays before we went to the ends. It was just weighing the odds versus recovering an onside kick or getting the ball back with 26 seconds. So we chose to kick off.
Well, of course. Why is Sean Payton the problem? Let's look at that and let's answer it for you. Sean Payton is the problem because he always makes excuses or he puts it on somebody else. It's always somebody else's fault. And when it's already somebody else's fault, here's what you got to know. You can't blame everybody, okay, for your mistakes.
When you kicked and you made it 13-3, was there a thought there? Hey, just go for the touchdown because we might not get enough possessions.
No, I think
win this game?
time-wise, we felt like we were still in a good position. I mean, looking at the clock.
Coach, can you expand on when you say we got to be fair with who does what?
Yeah, it's just when you run a play and it has success and you're looking at the pieces, when you run a play and it doesn't have success, are we putting in our guys in the best position? We're rotating a lot of different personnel groups in and out. I don't know if that's helping us, quite honestly. And we just need to evaluate that closely, evaluate what we're doing relative to our personnel.
When you get to it, you got Sean Payton, well, we got to do this better, we got to do that better. Okay, but every time it lands on somebody else's head, right? So you got to ask yourself, is he telling the truth or is he hiding? Because that's all he did last year. He blamed Russell Wilson. And I don't know how you blame Russell Wilson when you're calling the plays for Russell Wilson. That's what threw me off. Okay, and now we got to do better. Sean Payton was brought there because he knows offense. He's outdated with his play calling. The NFL coordinators have picked it up in a heartbeat, and he can't change. He's not innovative.
Coach, just for the run game, what do you think it's going to take to get you guys going in the run game? Is it play calling? Is it maybe giving someone else more carries than the other? Like, what's it going to take to come in?
Yeah, there's probably a number of answers to that question. It's a fair question. Overall consistency and look, it just doesn't turn around overnight. It's got to be something that that we are all committed to, and then even during the week before the players come in and get the plan. In other words, what scheme fits our players? What scheme fits our quarterback? So I think that's going to be important.
He's not going to change anything that's going to make it to where things are going to get better. I don't buy that one bit. I think this is a long haul that eventually is going to end up where the Broncos are going to end up with a bad situation.
Coach, how difficult is it keeping a rookie quarterback confident?
I think it depends on their personality, and I think he's got the right makeup and personality where, look, he's running around, he's competing. There's some pressures. There's a misprotection late in the game. Those are frustrating things that I said this a week ago. We need to be better around him. But I think this guy's been, he's been through it. It'd be different if he hadn't.
And here's the deal. The NFL's got a problem. I hope they change off of this, but their main problem has been the firing and paying for coaches, right? You pay all this money, and the coaching staff, their money gets guaranteed, right? And when there's money guaranteed.
Coach, you talked about throughout the offseason and training camp how important a fast start is now after these first 2 weeks. What's your message to the team to keep
Well, we got 2 weeks here. I just finished saying we've got 2 weeks where we go on the road. We're going to find out real quickly, and both good teams.
Hey, Coach, can you take us through the sequence near the end of the first half with the timeout where you may be thinking about the field goal, punt, and you ultimately go for it?
Yeah. Initially I know Will felt like he wanted to kick it. I didn't like where the field position was. I liked if we were going to take a risk going for it rather than punting. In the whole back of my mind, I just knew going into the game field position. And then eventually we decided to go for it. I don't have any second thoughts about that. Relative to where we were field position wise.
You got to ask yourself, okay, how am I getting this done, and what do I got to do to finish it up? Because when you get to the Denver Broncos, and I'll tell you, folks, I mean, this is not a mystery to me. This is just facts, and I always tell you it's my opinion. But if it turned to truth, I'm giving you the facts before it happens.
John, you're right. You said be patient with the run game, and you get.
No, meaning. Go ahead.
No, you just get to halftime with 7 carries. Is that a factor of the pace of the game or other things?
Yeah. How many snaps at the half? 20. Yeah, so 7 to 20. We just got to keep looking at it and.
Sean Payton is not your man in the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton is not a good football coach. Sean Payton has survived on other football coaches being in place to do the coaching. But when you look at it and says he can organize it, structure it, and get it all together, that's not the truth. And that's going to really build, it's going to get a boiling point up in Denver because the losses are just going to mount. So what are you saying, Money Mike? Who's coaching the team? Well, I'll tell you. Okay, you got Vance Joseph sitting right there. And I'm going to tell you that's an NFL head coach, Vance Joseph. NFL head coach, Rooney Rule. If and you know what? If you had to make a choice, as I said, with the Rooney Rule and how I looked at it, and I looked at what's going on in Denver, I said, you got two great coaches on the staff. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Sean Payton's not your guy. He's full of excuses. And when you get to Payton, I mean, take a listen. I mean, you're going to get to the excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. Van Joseph's been in the league for 20 years. He's the defensive coordinator, and he's a head coach, and he's holding it down very well. Okay, you get down, you want to slide down the offense, I'll tell you who's doing it. It's Joe Lombardi. Okay, but Sean Payton is sitting there with the play sheet, and, I look back at Kyle Shanahan getting rid of Steve Wilkes, right? And I'll get to that. 49ers got another problem. They got to figure out how they're going to do this on the defense. But you got also Joe Lombardi, and Joe can put an offense together. Joe coached Drew Brees. Okay, Sean Payton never did it, and what he did is when he was at San Diego, he hired Joe Lombardi to come over and be the coordinator for Drew Brees, and everybody thought he was calling the plays. And I always look at it, folks, you're in the NFL, you fake it till you make it. That's Sean Payton, and it's going to wear thin. I guarantee you this in Denver. I made a prediction. Denver will not win a AFC West divisional game in the next 3 years. I'm saying they won't beat the Chargers, they will not beat the Raiders, and they will not beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's a fact. It's my opinion, but I guarantee it's going to turn to truth. And with that, I gave you these facts a long time ago. Last year with the Denver Broncos, after I saw what he did with Russell Wilson and blame Russell Wilson for not being able to make plays when you're calling the plays. You are calling the plays. That's why the plays don't work. Folks, you get some guys that think and fool you. Like, I mean, give me an example. Jim Harbaugh can call plays, okay? He can design it with the double tight. He can do all kind of motions. He can do all of that, okay? He can put a game plan together, and it works, okay? You get guys that you got to stay in your area. But when a guy comes in, and Hackett's the Denver Broncos head coach, and your opening press conference, and you broke the code. You went in there and say that Hackett was the worst coach I ever seen in the NFL. Okay, and now you're right behind him, and I told the Broncos, cut your losses. I tell the Waltons, the owners of the Denver Broncos, cut your losses. I guarantee you, I told you last year, you do a skip-level meeting, you're going to skip through the organization, talk to other individuals, they're going to find out Sean Payton is not your guy. Okay, and I'm telling you here, you got a lot of good coaches, but this guy, I mean, he wants all the success, and he doesn't claim any of the failure of the Denver Broncos. This is going to go on all year. I'll bring it to you time and time again as the season develops. And, folks, this is what you got. This is the Indiana. Excuse me. This is, the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. I got a little excited. I'm thinking about the WNBA. But the Denver Broncos are in for a rude awakening. I mean, what do they got? I mean, you got to go in there and you got to play a schedule, and the schedule's not going to fit you, okay? It's not going to fit you, okay? It's going to fit who you got to deal with. And when you look at this thing, you got to understand in the AFC, I mean, you're going to be really, really scratching at the bottom of the barrel, right? Because you got to go win games, and if you can't win games, then guess what? You're done. And when you get right down to it, and you look at the Broncos, okay, you're gonna realize this, and this is just a stat. Okay, you got to put it all together. Okay, you hired Sean Payton for the offense, right? So let's take a look at it, what they're doing. They're 0-2. Okay, they got points for in 2 games. They're averaging 13 points a game. They've given up 39 points. Okay. So you got to look at it. They lost 2. Now you got to put all this back together, And eventually by week 8 or 9 or 10, man, you're going to find out you got the wrong guy. Vance Joseph, NFL Rooney Rule, great coach. Or you got Joe Lombardi, okay? You got two great coaches sitting there that the players can turn. But if you leave Sean Payton at the helm, and here's the problem, folks. I'll tell you what the problem happening is. And unfortunately, the Waltons going to get a taste of it. They gave him a 6-year, $100 million contract. Okay. And, they should have ripped it up. Conduct detrimental on the sideline with Russell Wilson. He's landed in Pittsburgh, better spot, winning organization. Mike Tomlin, by far, heads down, not even comparison. Much better coach than Sean Payton of the Denver Broncos, right? The players respect him. The players aren't going to respect Sean Payton because he doesn't take any accountability. Now, so Waltons, cut your losses. This is the Money Mike City Kitty Radio podcast. You're going to have to put another coach in there to get success. And if you're looking, staring down the barrel of the gun, you got the Chiefs, the Chargers, and you got the Raiders. So you're not going to beat any of those teams. That's a fact. And you got your quarterback. You want it. And you're trying to buy an excuse because he's a rookie. No, it doesn't matter who you put in there. You're not going to have success with Sean Payton in the National Football League. That's a fact. So this is the Money Mike Kitty Radio podcast. We have an exciting year going on in the NFL. You got Sean Payton is who he is. He's going to do what he's always done, and that's just the way he does it. It's never going to be right, but this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. We're telling you, Bronco fans, the Walton family, cut your losses because Sean Payton, it's going to be a long haul. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to break down to the point where you're just going to have, your hands going to be forced. But the NFL is the highest brand and the highest shield. And there's no greater respect of men that have played in the NFL and the respect of men in the Hall of Fame. But Sean Payton, disrespectful. He's not one. And I'll call it like I see it. They're not going to win a game in the AFC West for the next 3 years. Broncos, cut your losses because he is not your guy. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast, and we'll see you soon.